Hello there, this is Will Terry, and I am going to be doing a video tutorial on how to make a story app using the Talespring website or the Talespring tools that are on their website. And as you can see up here, I'm at www.talespring, that's spelled TALESPRING.com, and let's just dive right in. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is that if you click right here on sign up, you will want to create an account just like you would any other website, um, filling out your information. And then right here, you can actually, if you click right here, you can see, let me pull this over, a little pop-up window, the contract that you'll need to agree to in order to work with Talespring. Now, I will say that there were a few things in there that people had objected to, especially in the grant of rights that have now been changed. And so I think they're much more favorable to artists right now. So that's good news. And anyway, so you'll need to read through that and accept that if you want to. And then once you create your account, you can come up here to log in. And I'm just going to go ahead and log in right now. Oops. And okay, so a couple things in here. Right here, this current subscription. So you get a free account, and you get 25 megabytes on their server of your book that you're creating for free. And that's pretty neat because that means you get to try this out and see how you like it. Now, this is how much I used on my first book, and I actually had a video at the end of my book, which I'll show you towards the end. And so, I took up quite a bit more than probably a lot of people will use. So it's good to know that you can actually create your first book without using up all their storage for most people. You can also upgrade your account to 2 gigabytes, and it will cost you a small monthly fee. Another thing that you'll notice down here is I've got my I Eat You app, which is a story app for small children. Oh, maybe 2 to 5 year olds, 2 to 6 year olds, somewhere in that range. And I have my 1.0 version right here, and I actually have a 1.1 because I needed to do a revision because I had a couple of typos. So that'll teach you to have a couple of typos. It costs $150 to publish. There are a few other publishing options that cost more, and I don't really want to go into all those right now, but basically if you want to be your own publisher, you can pay more, and then you can not have Talespring's name on your book. You can put your own publishing name on your book. That costs quite a bit more. Or you can publish like I did for $150 and have Talespring be the publisher, and so when people open up the app, they'll see Talespring, the logo, first. I also created this little book called Playtime, and that's what I'm going to be using to show you kind of around the program. And so basically, let's just kind of go right in there. Here's Playtime right here. And I have basically an empty screen right in here. And I'm just going to go through these kind of in order, and we'll see how far we can get. I think we'll get through all of them in this video. But I'm just going to kind of move pretty fast. I want to show you a couple things really quick. If you're not familiar with Photoshop, or familiar with managing your digital files on the computer, I have a couple of videos that might really help you at my website, folioacademy.com, and this is a tutorial website that gives different tutorials, artist tutorials. And if you come down here and check on my name under artist, Will Terry, you can see the videos that I've uploaded so far. Now I'm making this one. I've actually finished another video that'll be in here, but it's just not uploaded while I'm making this video. It is uploaded right now for you, called Making Art for eBooks and Story Apps. So I highly recommend that if you haven't, if you're not familiar with making animations, preparing artwork, preparing traditional artwork, preparing digital artwork, and separating things and making animated GIFs and making dot JPEG files and dot GIF files, and I'm drawing a blank on the other one right now, but I'm real expert, huh? So anyway, it's all in here. And then another one that you might want to look at is beginning Photoshop for digital painting, because this one goes through, if you've never worked in Photoshop before for creating digital images, this is the first one you want to use. I've stripped out all the things here that you won't need to know if you're going to use Photoshop for editing photos and using Photoshop for other things. This is strictly for creating images, for painting in Photoshop. So there's a ton of tools in Photoshop that I don't go over, but those are typically the ones you're not going to need. So if I ever go over your head on this video, you might want to check these out. Again, this is at folioacademy.com, and you can just look at this link right here. Okay, that's enough of my little infomercial. So let's go back and look at and just kind of start in on these tools on Talespring. And so the first thing I want to show you, there are these little tabs on the side, and I want to also say this, that I have talked to the owners of the company of Talespring, and they're looking forward to making some revisions on this website that will make it even better and more enhanced for your experience. So right now these tabs are all the same color, and I think one of the things they've talked about doing is perhaps making them different colors, so that it's easier to understand, because sometimes you're on one of them and you're looking for your stuff and you're thinking, well it was here a minute ago. Well, it's because it's on a different tab. So when I click on this one, this animation tab will come up. So the first tab we're going to look at is your book, and right here if you click on edit, you can come in here and put your name. If you're the author, illustrator, if you have a different illustrator, you can set the price for your book. So that's kind of neat. You get to decide the price, title of your book, a description, and then right here you're going to want to upload little icon files, and those are the buttons that will appear in the App Store. They'll appear on the iPad, and they'll and they give you the sizes right here. Again, my videos go over, if you don't know how to size those, my videos will show you how to do that. Okay, so that is the book. Now let's look at page elements. And so we have no page elements here. And when we upload files, we're going to start to see things in here, and then also our animation timeline. Now, one thing I can say about this environment is it really is laid out well, and it really is simple. And that's one of the things that drew me to using this. Is I looked through it, I played with it a little bit, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be able to make a book in this environment because I understand what's going on. And if you are if you're used to using websites, if you're used to fooling around in computer programs, you'll probably be able to figure out a lot of these tools on your own too. They are intuitive, and so a lot of you might not even need this video that I'm giving you right now. But I did get stuck on a few things and had to call the company and kind of bug them and send emails and stuff. And so hopefully some of the things that I'll answer in this video will give you something to refer to, so you don't have to call them up as often or bug them with emails. Okay, so let's just go through the first thing. So this media button right here, if I click that, now all the images that you're seeing in here are images that I've uploaded for my book I Eat You, which again is in the App Store right now. And this is another area that they're kind of wanting to streamline for you a little bit better, because everything you upload, from the title of your book to every single graphic to the backgrounds to the text files, if you upload text files, will all be in here, and they're all sorted according to alphabetical order. So one thing that I can advise you right now is make sure that, for one idea that you could do for each page that you have in your book, is to label things with like the letter A at the beginning for page 1, or a 1, and so that when they're in alphabetical order, they'll flow with each page, so that when you scroll to the bottom, you're going to the end of your book, and when you're at the top, you're at the beginning, so it's easier to find things, because you're going to be referring back into this library all the time. Now over here on the side, you're going to notice that we're on the My Graphics tab, and those are the images that I've uploaded. But if you go into Talespring Graphics, they've actually given you different graphics that you can actually use, where they're royalty-free images, different designs and stuff, and you might find some of those handy. I didn't use any of those. I didn't need any of those. Also, I wanted to separate my book from other people, so I didn't want um, mine to have the same look as someone else. So I didn't want to use those. But there's nothing wrong with it, and if you find something in there that works, then that's just available for you. So back on this graphics tab right now, and then you'll notice over here, this is a little graphics icon. So those are your pictures. These are your sound files right here, and then these are video files if you have them. You may not want to use any video files. I did upload a video of mine, and you can check it out if you get the app. And if we get a chance at the end, I'll show you it. That you can actually put a video in your app, which is really cool. You can put MP4 videos in there. Okay, so let's just start playing around, and then I'll end up hitting all the major notes as we go along. Down here we can add a page. So this is page 1 that we're on right here. And now if I add a page by clicking the plus button, now we have page 2. Really simple. Now I got going after I did it, and I realized, you know what, I put my title page, or I put my title page here, and then I had page 1, and I forgot to put in the credits and a dedication page, and I started to panic, and I thought, oh no, what if I can't put a page in there? But you can. Look at this. You can just grab a page and move it over, and then it'll rename it number 2. So that's neat, because if you forget to put something in your book and you want to put something at the front, just go ahead and add an extra page. There's 4. Now move forward to number 1 slot, and now you've got anything that you want in any order. Really smart, and I think they did a fabulous job on coming up with this design. Another thing you can do is you can delete a page if you don't want it right here. So I can get rid of that. It'll give me this little pop-up, and I'll just delete that page. And then it'll rename all the other pages. So that's neat. It always keeps them in order for you. And then if you get too many pages, this is one thing that I kind of got stuck on. Probably because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm just going to add a bunch of pages here and show you what happens. I got out here, and then I added, and then I went, somehow I ended up, when I relaunched it, I was on page 1, and then I said, now wait a minute, where's my page 11, 12, 13? And I didn't even see this button right here, but if you just click on this, so it's really neat. And you can have as many pages as you want. Keep in mind that you want to keep your app size small. Some people, I mean, as small as you can. So if it's one of the key phrases in design, is keep it simple, stupid. So you want, if there's no reason to have something in your book, make sure you delete it out and don't have an extra page that shouldn't be there. It's boring for readers, and it's also going to make your file size bigger. And some people will decide not to download a book if it's too big, because they've got a certain amount of space on their device, and if it's too big, they don't want to add it. So the smaller is better. But you can have as many pages as you want, and if you don't have a ton of stuff on your pages, it's not going to add that much extra. Okay, let's try this right now. Let's just start up at the top here and go with the text tool. So if I click on that, it's going to give me a little text box, and then I can click and drag it out as big as I want. Okay, so now I have my text box, and then if I type in there, I don't know how to spell this. Okay, so over here you have a few fonts to work with. Now the reason that there's only a few is that these fonts actually work with the iPhone and the iPad. So the neat thing is they're already fonts that work in those phones, so they'll read really well. So that's a good thing. So you can choose one of these fonts, and let's just go back to this one here, this Arial. Again, you got point sizes here. Pretty standard stuff. I'm on black right here, but you can. Neat thing is you can change your, you know, the color of your font to whatever you want here. So you can match your pictures if you want. You know. So that's real neat, I think. Let's just go a little darker there. Okay. And then you have a position right here and dimensions. Now, one thing that you can do is you can come over here to transform, and you can do this with any graphic or element, and you can set your alignment, and it gives you this little picture here of where you want to align things. If I click right there, it's going to line it up in the corner. If I set my alignment to the middle, obviously it's going to put it right in the middle. But if I set it to right here, it's going to put it, and the neat thing is it's perfectly spaced from either side. Now, I do have this space right here, so while it's mechanically spaced from the edge of the text box, it's not necessarily optically spaced. So these are things that you might want to do, and what I would suggest is maybe coming up with a positioning and saying from the top, you know, I'm going to have a certain number where I'm going to have this distance right here every time, and then I'm going to have a certain margin on the left that I use every time, and that'll build kind of a repetition, kind of a consistency through your book, and it's going to make it easier for your readers, and it's going to feel a little bit more planned out. Okay, so now you have your text box in there, and now there's a cool thing that you can do, and they've got a highlighted text feature that we can do in here. So let's do this. Let's go into media, because I've already recorded this, and we're just going to go in and we're going to choose a file. And I didn't need to click on mute on the audio. I don't need to do that. I could be over here as long as I just go ahead and choose a file, and it should show up right here. Yeah, here we go. Fee-fi-fo-fum. So I'm just going to open that, and it's going to go ahead and upload that. Now I just chose it from my computer. It was just saved in a file on my computer, and I just went and found that. And now if I go and look in here, there it is right there. Fee-fi-fo-fum MP3. Now you do need to have your files in an MP3 format, and I actually recorded mine using my iPad with a free program called TinyVox, TinyVox, and the version that I got was free, and so I recorded all my voice files right there on my iPad. The neat thing is it has an automatic sound reduction or noise reduction, so the audio is clear and clean. The only thing I did was I did dress it up a little bit in another program that I have called Camtasia Studio, where I was able to take those files in there and cut the front and the back off. Sometimes when you start talking, you know, you might breathe in, you know, kind of like that before you say something, and so I was able to kind of go in there and cut any little sound off the front of those files in Camtasia Studio. There are other programs that you can use. Unfortunately, one of the problems with MP3s, from what I understand, is that companies that export to MP3 files have to pay a royalty, and so a lot of them don't. And I know that at least in the version that I have of Audacity, which is a free program, I can't export MP3 files, or I'm too stupid to figure out how to do it. But I've looked online in so many different places on how to export an MP3 file from that program. Can't figure it out. So you may want to do a little research if you don't have if you don't have a program that will export to MP3. Do a little bit of research. But again, I'm using Camtasia Studio to do screen captures, and that one exports beautifully to MP3, so I can take them in there. If not, you can just use your files right off of TinyVox, and you don't have to clean them up, especially if you're really careful when you record. When you push the record button, if you start talking right away, you won't have that gap in the front. So that's just one little tip that you might be able to use. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just get this file right here, and let's see, just click on this. Okay, that was a preview, so let's see. I'm going to click on, I wonder why it's not highlighting right now. Maybe I did this wrong. Let's see. Let's go in here and get that file. That's probably what I did. There we go. Okay, so now I have that file. So let's do that again just because I went kind of fast. So when I'm on my text box, I'm going to go here. So I was looking at the file from the media folder, but when you're on the text box, just click this little synchronize thing here, and it's already linked up there because I already did that. Let's remove it and do it again. We'll go up in here. It'll take me to my little library, and I'll just click on the word, and now it's going to be synced up. And now what happens is if I click this Start Sync button, then what's going to happen is it's gonna play my voice that I uploaded, that I already recorded to Fee Fi Fo Fum, and what I get to do is click on this every time the word is said, and it'll do a highlighted text. So I'll show you. I'm going to try to, with my mouse, click every time the word changes, and I'm going to try to time it right. And I probably won't get it right the first time, and it'll just let you do it until you get it right. So I'll just show you here. So I'm going to click.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
Okay, so now we can check it out, and let's do save, and then we'll play it. So
Fee, fi, fo, fum.
so
I
far so
smell
good.
the blood of an
Now I'm late.
Englishman.
Okay, so that one didn't work out too well. So we're going to redo it and then just start sync. So here we go.
Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
So that's pretty good right there. So then I can just save it, and then I'm going to get rid of that, click out of that, and now that's saved in there. And then whenever you're doing anything on a page, you can always come up here and hit preview. Now let me mention one other thing. I am working in Safari right now, and so this browser is Safari. It's not Windows Explorer, and it's not Firefox, and it's not Google Chrome. It's Apple's Safari program. Now, if you're on a Mac, you're probably already on Safari. I didn't even know I could run Safari on my PC, but when I tried running Talespring on Firefox or Chrome or Explorer, it didn't work well, and the preview didn't work. And then the CEO of the company says, "Well, you need to get Safari loaded up. So what you do is just go out to the Apple website and download Safari and get that running on your computer. It's free, and then everything will work right." So if I hit this preview right here, okay, so now it's got this. So now if I click on the text,
Fee, fi, fo,
I clicked
fum.
twice. That's
I
why it
smell the
glitched.
blood of an Englishman.
So there you go. Highlighted text. Now I hit escape to get back to the regular thing. So I can always go on the preview, and then if I just hit my escape button, boom, I'm back in. Um, I didn't use the highlighted text in my book, and the reason is because I couldn't turn it off. And I think this is one of the things that the programmers at Talespring may want to change, or they might change in the future. They might not, but for me, I was thinking that it would be really neat to for the user to be able to have that highlighted text feature turned on or turned off. And I envisioned, a mom or dad reading to their kid at night and not wanting to have that little yellow bar going across whenever they're reading a word. And if you're trying to read it yourself, I think it would mess you up. And so I thought, well, it'd be neat to be able to turn it off, but you can't turn it off. So what I did was I just didn't use it. So that was kind of a trade-off. And I think when you start developing your app, that's one thing that you're going to have to do is constantly try to think of how you would be, try to think of the user that you're trying to make your app for, and try to envision, how would I want to use this? Some people might say, well, and might give me a bad review saying, well, he doesn't have highlighted text. But I think in general, I'm trying to please the most amount of people, and I started to feel like, maybe it would be annoying if parents are reading it to small kids and stuff. So that's why I kind of took it out of there or didn't use it. I actually uploaded my own text, so I didn't even use their text right here. I created, I don't know, I'm just going to delete. Well, we'll keep that. Let's keep it. I uploaded just a PNG image. That's the other file I was trying to think of. A PNG image because it's got a clear background, and I just typed out the text in Photoshop and just used that. Okay, so enough of the text. That's kind of how that works. Um, and then here is add a graphic. Now I've already added a whole bunch of graphics in here, but let's just go ahead and upload a bunch more graphics. So I'm just gonna click. I'm holding down Control and I'm clicking because these are all graphics that I want to use to kind of show you some different animations and things that you can do in this program here. And yeah, let's grab him and grab him. And let's get this falling sound too. Okay, so open up. That's just going to upload and kind of chew away on uploading these little images here. Now this might be a good time to talk about this too. That you want to, let's see. Uploading errors, could not save image. Maybe it's because I uploaded that sound file in there at the same time. So see, I'm going to learn too. Let's just do 3 images right now and see what happens. Um, 1 PNG cannot save. So there's something I got going on with that image. Well, will it upload this one? Yes. And there it is right there. So one of these images I got something funky going on with. We'll figure out which one. So there's my car. And maybe it only wants one at a time. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it only wants me to do one at a time. Well, anyway, one thing that you can do to keep your book a manageable size is make sure that your images are the size, or roughly the size, that you want to use them. So in other words, you don't want an image that's at 300 dpi, and you don't want to load it into this, upload it like I am right now, because it's going to be huge, and you're going to have to scale it way down in the program. And anytime you're grabbing the bar, and I'll just show you real quick what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and grab this ball out here right now. So, this ball is this size right here. This is the actual size that I painted it at. Now I can make him smaller, and I can make him bigger. If I make him bigger, he's going to be pixelated though. See how bad it looks right now? So really, the optimum size is the size I brought it in at, which is right about here. So you don't want to bring an image in and make it bigger. It's going to look bad. If you bring an image in, you only want to go smaller or keep it the same size. If you need it bigger, then paint it bigger or render it bigger and then bring it in. And this is another thing I talk about in the making art for ebooks and story apps is what I do is I paint my images huge. I paint them 4 times bigger than I need them in the program. So I'd paint it like this big, but it wouldn't look pixelated like this. Then I reduce it down. When I save it, I save a separate file for my app, and I might save it down at this size because it's like, well, that's about the size I want to use it. And I might save it a little bit bigger like that, and then when I bring it in the program, I might just reduce it down a little bit. And that's not a big deal. What you don't want to do is save it this big, get it in the program like this when you only need it, to be this size right here. Okay? Yeah, so you just don't want to do that because that's going to chew up your storage space on the server, and it's going to make your book really huge. Because what will happen is the book will remember it, or the program will remember it this big, and it'll make your pages load slower and things like that. So you want to optimize your images. Okay, so there's that one there. Let's go add a few more here. Let's see. Now I can't remember which ones I did. I can't remember if I uploaded this one or not. I don't think I did. Let's just look in here. Yeah, there he is right there. Okay. Oh, I did upload the whole twice there. So I can go in here and just delete that one. Yeah, let's get rid of him. Okay. So now I've got that. Let's go ahead and choose another file. Get this rock in here. And let's get this fish. And these are actually eyelids right here for the fish. And, excuse me, a background. Oh, let's get this little tab button. You may or may not need him. Let's get the background. And then we'll get this sound file. Oops, not that one, that one there. So pretty straightforward. Oh, I know why it won't upload, because it's a WAV file. Oh, shucks, I got the wrong file type. So I'm going to have to, in order to show that part, I'm going to have to pause it and re-render it, but I'll do that later. Okay, so let's just work with some of this stuff here. Let's just show you what you can do. So here's an image right here, and I pulled him out. When I pulled him out onto here, what it did was it came into page elements, excuse me, and it gave me, here's my text box. When I made that, it gave me a text box. But it also gave me this image right here, and this image is called A1.png, and so it's telling me my position. You can see if I move that, the position will change. See that right there? Watch these change right there. Okay, and so this is all the stuff dealing with that. Now, if I want to animate this, I just come over here, and these are the different animations you can do. So if I want to move this ball, I can move it from A to B, and I can put it right on the edge, and then I will show you what happens. So when I hit preview, the ball's just going to go over there and it's going to get stuck. Okay, so let's do this. Now, the reason that when I launched that page that it went is because it started on page load. Okay, now what happens if I put this on a click? Okay, let's see what happens. So preview the page. So there's the ball. Now what happens if I click on it? Now it goes. Okay. Now what happens if I do it on with previous? We don't have anything previous really happening, but let's do it after previous. See what happens. Now the reason that it went after previous is because there was nothing before it, so it just automatically launched. Now that after previous, we'll use that more later. So let's leave it on page load right now. But duration is 1,000 milliseconds. That's 1 second. So it took 1 second for it to travel from A to B. So what happens if we put 3 seconds in there? Page preview. So see, now it moves a lot slower. And it is working a little choppy, just so you know, on this video. That's because my processor's getting taxed because I'm using Camtasia Studio. But you know, if you looked at it on the iPad, it would be smooth as silk. It's beautiful. And I just love it. Now here's something that you got going on right here, this easing. So it's linear right now. That means as soon as you launch it, it's going to go the same speed from A to B. What happens if we ease it in? Oh, see, so now it went slowly and then it sped up and then it hit the wall. And what if we ease it in and out? We could also just ease out. But what if we ease in and out? Preview the book. Now slow down and then hit. Those are things that will give you kind of a real world animation feel, because things often start up slow. If you were thinking about animating like a car, it's not going to just start out at 30 miles an hour. It's going to start slow and it's going to speed up. So you have to use your mind to think, well, how can I use these to my benefit? Okay, now what happens if it's right here, but what happens if I move this, if I go to animate and I go to move, and see how it changes this to a dotted line? What if I move it up here now? Now is it going to preview? Is it going to go from here to here? No, because on the timeline, animation timeline, the first thing that happens is the first move that we did. So if I click on that, here's our first move. Remember 3,000 milliseconds, and it's going to ease in and ease out. And then, now this one's going to happen on page load. But this one also says it's going to happen on page load. Let's see what happens when we do it. So now it does go up there. Okay. So now what happens if we put, this one basically erased that other one. But what happens if we put after previous? Okay. So now it's going to come over here. And then it's going to go up there. Okay. Now you could also incorporate some bouncing sounds. We can do this again. We could play this all day and kind of say, well, then it would bounce over here. Now it's going to put a third animation. And you'll also notice there's a little line here. And that little line there signifies that we went after previous. So when I click on here, you can see it's after previous. And there's a 0 delay on the start. So it just moved right from here and then right up there because there was a 0 delay. And then it took a second to move up there. But now this one says on page load. So again, if we preview it, what's going to happen? It's just going to go down there. But what happens if we put this after previous? It puts a little line right in here. So watch that line disappear if I put it on page load. So a lot of your animations you're going to want to use after previous because you're going to want to link them. One thing leads to another, leads to another, leads to another, and it'll create this little chain right here. Okay. And so what happens if we put this one at 5/100ths of a second? So a half or 500 milliseconds or a half a second. So this one's going to go fast over there. So preview the page, and then up, and then boom. Okay, and so you could do this kind of a thing all day long, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the move animation. Okay, and so this we're still moving this same asset, and that is this A1, and so every time we move it, it's going to move from the previous one, and so I don't see it here. I'm always seeing it in the original position. But again, if I move it now, what would happen? What would happen if I didn't hit move first, the animation? And what happens if I move the asset over here, and that's going to the page element? So we change the position there. Now what happens? Well, now it's going to start here, and it's going to go off the page, and then it's going to come down. So it basically moved everything over. It just shifted everything over. So if you run into that problem, that was kind of a problem that I ran into, is I forgot to hit animation first. Now, I will promise you this. This program will do exactly what you tell it to because it's a computer. And that's the problem. So when you get frustrated as you're animating something and it's not doing what you want, you have to just realize that it's you. It's you telling the computer bad information. You're not telling it what you really want it to know. You're telling it what you think it should know, but it's going to do exactly what you tell it to. Okay, so we'll put him back over here, and let's look at something else now. Okay, so we're going to go in here and let's see what other things can we play with. Let's try this real quick. I just wanted to show you this one. Now I didn't use this in my book, but you can actually you can scale things. So you can bring things from the distance, and you can scale them up. So let's say we have this asset here, and then we go to scale, right? So we're going to go to scale, and we're going to just scale that thing up. Okay, so let's see what happens when we hit a preview on that. Okay, so that just scaled up. Now can we move that? Can we move him at the same time? Let's just see if we can do that. So he's highlighted, he's already selected. Let's go to move, and let's move it to here. Okay, now this one we're probably going to want to say with previous. Okay, because as it's scaling, this is going to represent something that's coming towards you, right? And so as it's getting bigger, because it's looking like it's getting bigger, it's also going to be moving. So let's just preview that. So there you go. Okay, so that will show you that you can actually bring things forward, and you can take things into the distance. You can start them big, so you can have this car in reverse. If you had the back end of it big, and then you could scale it down and then move it up into the corner and make it drive away. Okay, let's go for something else here. Another neat thing that you can do is, oops, and I got two of these. I brought in the clouds, but it was a little delay, so it did it twice. And I'm going to scale this down, so I'm just going to grab it. But this is kind of something neat. Let's say you wanted some clouds going by in the distance in your book. You can move this off the page. You know what? Before we do this, let's do something else so we have a background. Let's do something else here. Let's go get another graphic. I think there would be a better time to show this. Now this is going to be weird because it's underwater. This was one of the oops, it didn't pull off. I gotta click and drag it off, and I went too fast, so sometimes it doesn't actually click and drag off. Now see, it's not lined up. Now one thing, this is a good time for me to just mention this. Your images that you bring in cannot be any bigger then 1024 pixels by 768 pixels. So 1024 wide, so 1024 pixels wide by 768 pixels deep. I go over this in my video, making art and for making art for ebooks and story apps, um, and also in the Photoshop, the beginning Photoshop video. So if you don't know how to scale your images and get them to be the right size, you might want to check those out. So now if I try to optically position this here, I might get it wrong. It might not be exactly right. And you can look at the position here, and I've got left 1, and I could actually put that at a 0. And when I do, it should move it into position. But an easier way to do that is just come here to transform and set the alignment and just set it right in the middle. And now it's perfectly aligned. Now another neat thing that you can do, because if you're working around with Talespring and with your tools and everything, you might accidentally bump it and knock it off course. So what you can do is just go over here to lock, click that little lock button, and now I can't move it. And that's great because I want it to be the background. But what happened to my other objects that are out there? Well, they're actually behind this image. And so if we come to transform right here, we've got all these: bring to front, send to back, send backwards. And this is where you do this. So the background should probably always be in the very back. So I'm just going to send him to the back, and when I do, all these other things pop on top of the screen. Okay, now you can, if you just imagine every single one of these is on a different layer, and they come in the order that you loaded them in. So each one of these objects is actually in front or behind of another one. Okay, and that's important to realize too, because when you activate hotspots for clicking and stuff, sometimes things won't work because there's a transparent object over top of your hotspot where you're going to want to let someone tap and activate an asset. So that's where you come in here, and if something's not working when you click on it, you might just want to send something backwards or bring something forward, and then try it and preview it and see if you can click on it, and that's how you can get that to work. Okay, so let's get our cloud here, and I'm just going to show you this real quick. Remove him off, and then let's move him. So I'm going to click move. Now you can see there's just a little clear spot right there, and it's neat to leave just a little bit on your images, because if you don't, you won't be able to do this right here. So move, and I'm going to come over here. When my cursor changes, I'm just going to grab it and move it across the screen to the other side, all the way off the page. And then on this one, I'm going to leave it on page load, but I'm going to set the duration on this for like crazy long. Like let's try 30,000. So 30,000 milliseconds or 30 seconds. And let's preview that and see how that works. So see, now I have this cloud that's just sort of moving across, and I could go even slower. That might be too fast for a cloud to be rolling across. But the neat thing is you have total control, and you can make it move as fast or slow as you want. Okay, so let's keep moving on here, and let's do this one. Let's bring this image in, and we'll just kind of place it here, and then let's go ahead and align that. So we'll set the alignment. We'll just set it in the center there, so it's perfectly aligned. And then this next one might be a little tricky, but we'll bring in, and I haven't actually tried to do this in here, so we'll see if I can get it lined up perfectly. In order for this to work, it kind of needs to be lined up really nice so you don't see the seams. And this might be where this positioning might really come in handy, but this is going to be good enough right here. Okay, and now let's go get another graphic. Let's get this gopher. This was something that I showed in the video tutorial. So if I want to make him pop out of this hole, how am I going to do that? Well, this is where this alignment comes. What if I send him, because he's on top, he's the top thing because he came in last, so he's over top of everything. What if I just send him backwards? Okay, so we'll send him not to the back because that's going to go behind the background because then that'll be the very back thing. But just send him backwards and then he'll just go back once. Oops. And see now I want to click on him, but I can't because that's there. So now I might have to go and select him from page elements. Let's see. This guy right here. And let's just, oh shucks, let's see. I want to move, well, this one's in front of it, so this is going to create a problem. So we might have to do this. See, these are things that you have to kind of work out. So I'm just going to do it like this. Now that I can move him out of the way, and then I'll put that in front. But let's animate him and move him so he pops up out of the hole. And then let's make him go 2 seconds. Okay, and we'll just pop him up. Let's start a delay and pop him up 5 seconds after the page loads. And we'll ease him out so that he doesn't just pop up and stop abruptly, but he'll slow down a little bit. Now let's go get this graphic over here and put it over top. Okay, right about there. And let's go see what this looks like now. So we should wait 5 seconds to see him pop out. And there he is. Now if we wanted to, let's escape. What if we really want, let's go back to the animation timeline. And let's make him really pop out. 400 seconds. So a fourth of a, let's see, 4/10 of a second. Just because it's fun to kind of play around with this stuff. So there you go. And we could move him back down again. Okay, next, let's bring this little boulder in. And we could put this boulder right here. And here's kind of a neat thing that we could do is we can rotate. So we can actually, oops. Let's see, I'm on. There we go. Will it do it? Let's see, I need to, I don't think it'll do it from there. Oh, I know, I gotta grab this handle right here. Duh. Okay, so move. Okay, so I'm still on that move. I still haven't rotated it yet. Let's see. Let's grab this and we'll just keep rotating it around a bunch of times. And then, so now I have this little rotation animation, and then I'm going to attach a move animation to it as well. And I'm just going to move it across the bottom of the page and out of the picture plane. So let's see, this is going on page load. It's going to start rolling, and on page load it's also going to start moving. I think that'll work, so let's just see what happens. Yep, there we go, it just rolled right across. Now let's delay the move, so instead of 1 second it takes 4 seconds to go across the page. So so then the rotation ran out. So now go back to rotate and slow the rotation down to 4 seconds. So they match. And now it kind of just rolls right on out. So just kind of trying to show you some of the different things that you can do on here. Let's do another one. And let's see. Let's make the eyes blink on the fish here. And this is an appear and a disappear kind of a thing. So I'm going to bring my fish out, and now I have these little eyelids, but the eyelids are too big, but that's okay because I can just scale them down and move them to where I want to go here. And they just need to be kind of close. I can rotate them too a little bit if I need to with this little rotation. So that's kind of neat. So now I got my eyelids there. Okay, so this fish right here, I'm just going to leave him static. But what I really want to do is animate these eyes. And what I want to do with these is I want to appear them. Okay, so now I have this appear animation. And it's going to go on page load. So when the page loads, it's just going to appear. And then I'm still selected on them. So I'm going to go disappear. And it's going to throw a disappear right here. And now I'm going to go appear. And I'm going to disappear because these are just eye blinks. Appear. So I want, let's see, appear, disappear, appear, disappear, appear, disappear. Okay. So now let's go in here and work on these. So when the page loads, let's see, this is, yeah, this is all the eyelids, PNG 11, or 10, yeah, A10. So I'm going to come in here, and then on page load, I'm going to delay the first eye blink 3 seconds. And then so this one's going to appear. Now, in order for it to work, I need them to just blink. So you just want to see the eyelids for just a split second. So I'm going to make them disappear right away. Okay, and the disappear is going to happen right after the appear. So it's got to be after previous. And I'm just going to let's just try it for 1/10 of a second. So 100 milliseconds. And then I'm going to appear it again later, a second later. We'll just leave that and then go ahead and disappear it a second later. Now on this one, let's see. Again, I need to do after previous on all these because these are all going to be linked. And you can see I'm starting to form this little daisy chain right here. And we can just go and do them all right now just so we don't forget. After previous. So now they're all linked up. So let's see, this one's 100 milliseconds. And then we'll make the last blink. Let's make it 4 seconds later. And then another 1/10 of a second. I know this is probably a little hard to follow, but if you play with it, you'll start to get it, and it'll get real quick. At first, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but let's just see what happens in the preview here. So his eyes should start blinking here. There's a blink, blink, and then another blink 4 seconds later, blink. Now those blinks might have been too fast, so if we want to slow them down, let's see. You can go 200 on these and just see how that looks. The neat thing is, just with these simple little animation tools, there's so much that you can do, So that looks a little more natural, I think, at 200. Okay. Alright, so there's that. Now let's do a hotspot. So we've done pretty much everything. Oh yeah, we need to do our ghost. Let's do the ghost first. So I think I brought in a ghost somewhere. Yeah, here he is. Now this is a PNG image, and I made him ghost-like, so I turned the opacity down on him or her in Photoshop. Again, I show how to do that in my videos. So let's fade this ghost in, and so that's going to fade in, and we'll just do it on the page load. We'll delay the start 2 seconds, and we can decide on the duration. It can fade in for a second, or we could take longer. Let's just see what that looks like here. So it'll wait a few seconds, and then our ghost should fade in. So there we go. Now we could take longer on that fade in. And fade ins can work in a lot of different ways. You could appear something. There's a lot of different ways that you could use that. I used it in my book, and you can also fade out. And then the hotspot. So let's make a hotspot. So let's go ahead and get another graphic. And what I used was a tap button, because I wanted a button where people could actually tap and make something else happen. So here I have my tap right here, and what I can do is turn it into a hotspot. Okay, so that means, so here's my little graphic, and now it's a hotspot, and I can put on click. Okay, and the neat thing with that is you can also attach a sound to it. So let's tap, let's attach, excuse me, we'll go up here to our sounds, and I think, oh, I didn't do it, that's right, because I had the wrong file type. Doesn't matter, we'll just get another sound. So let's just get, let's just use this, well, let's use this gulp sound. So let's do it like this. We'll choose a sound from here, and we'll just get the, oh, let's just use the fish sound. It's a bubble sound kind of a thing. Okay, and then here's my ball right here, and let's actually, let's bring in another ball, or let's bring in something totally different. Let's see what we have. We'll just bring in a fish. Okay, and so this fish right here, we're gonna move it, and we'll move it from here to here. And now in the animation timeline, we've got our hotspot and we have our move. So if I move this after previous, then it can't move until I tap and click on this tap button right here, because this is a hotspot. So it should work if I do it now. Let's see. Let's see, on click, delay the start, it's going to play the sound, and it's going to launch the animation. So if I did it right, it should work. And I should be able to do this whenever I want. So if I tap on this right now, there, and then there's the sound. So there you go. Now that sound actually had a little bit of space in front of it, or it would have happened at the same time. So we'll just do it again, and you can see if I don't tap on this, if I don't click on this, when you're on the iPad screen or iPhone, if you touch it, it's going to launch it. So all these things have happened. The cloud's still going. If I tap on this now, it goes. So that's how you can create the interactivity within the book. So that's pretty much that's pretty much, you know, all the different things that you have to use. Let me go out real quick, and let's see. Let's return to the dashboard, and let's go into my book, and let's see. I made a duplicate. Let's see. We'll go in here to look at it, and I'll just show you really quick the video that I put in at the end. And it's right. Let's see. Yeah, it is right here. Okay. So I put a video of me in there, and if we go to preview the page, you know how authors at the end of their book, they'll have a bio section, and you know, they'll give you their little bio that's written down. Well, I thought, well, it might be neat to just do a bio that's actually a video. So I thought I'd tell about myself, and you can tap here and launch some fish and stuff. But this is basically the end of the book. Alright, so that's enough of that right there. Okay, so that's where you would add the video, and you can see right here mine is 5 megabytes. So out of the whole book, you know, you get 25 megabytes for free. I used 5 of them up just on that little video right there. If you're worried about your size, you might not want to do that, but I thought it'd be kind of a neat thing. I also draw a little bit of attention and give them my website, so I can use the app actually as a marketing tool as well. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, you know, if you need to brush up on your Photoshop skills, you can always come to Folio Academy, where we have all kinds of artist videos, and you can check out our different artists. We're adding videos all the time, and again, the video that I have that would help you the most probably in this one is going to be this little beginning painting in Photoshop, as well as the making art for ebooks and story apps. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and thanks a lot. This is Will Terry signing off.